It's almost like there's, this might sound flaky. It's my favorite term to describe weird sensations. It's almost like there's like a film in front of me, and visually, like, I mean, obviously I'm standing in a Neolithic burial chamber, but it's just like there's something else beyond it, beyond what's in front of me, if that makes any sense.
As Holly and I wrap up our tour of the Cheshire region of the United Kingdom, we investigate two very different locations. The first was a 12,000-year-old Neolithic burial site known as the Bridestones, where there had been sightings of ghostly druids, missing time incidents, and numerous reports of a phenomenon known as earthlights.
Morning, guys. So, how old is this Mr. Sadler, did you say?
This is...
What is it,
approximately,
and how old is it?
This is a Neolithic burial cairn. A burial cairn, obviously, is of great importance to somebody who was buried here. It was an important person, and it's called the Bridestones, it's thought, because it was supposed to be a female.
So, are you as excited here as you were at Shock Black?
I certainly am, yes. I mean, I love Neolithic burial chambers. I've been around a number of them on investigations. This one is a little bit smaller than I expected, but I'm already intrigued.
So, what's the haunting story, Dave?
First and foremost, there's been a figure which the reportee, the witness, claimed looked like a druid. It was in white. We've also got dark, shapely figures. The UPIA actually themselves have had quite a high EMF spike within the burial cairn itself. Also, a gentleman was travelling on this road. The gentleman stopped to relieve himself, to have a little wee. And in that period of time, he got out of his car. He saw a ball of light emanating from the Bridestones area, electrical, statically charged ball of light, and thereby found himself in the woods adjacent to the south. A number of hours later, he had a complete loss of time. He was half naked. When he got back to his car, he found his clothes were neatly piled up in his car, and they had an electrical statical charge to them also.
Well, okay, why don't we do this? Why don't you and Steve go snag your gear so we can get the ball rolling on a proper investigation, and Holly and I'll stay here and figure out where we'll set up our DVR cameras. Yeah, all right. Break team.
Sure.
Let's go Neolithic, Holly.
I'm already there.
It's as close as I get to an action shot. So, what do you say? You feeling anything? Got any vibes? Anything? What do you feel when you get here? When you first walked in? 12,000 years old, give or take.
Paul and the crew began setting up the infrared cameras, so I took the opportunity to have a closer look at the burial chamber. In the short time that we'd been there, I noticed a very strong sense of unease come over me. I don't know if I want to call it anxiety, because I've definitely experienced that before, but it's just this kind of like sensation just kind of hits me of it's kind of a worry, like there's something wrong kind of sensation. And it also, on occasion, transfers into sadness. Something was wrong, is what it felt like. It's almost like there's like a film in front of me, and visually, like, I mean, obviously I'm standing in a Neolithic burial chamber, but it's just like there's something else beyond it, beyond what's in front of me, if that makes any sense.
While Holly was in the burial chamber, Dave, Steve, and I took the opportunity to set up our generator and infrared cameras before the sun went down.
Got one set up over here. These are what the little fellows look like. Infrared cameras that'll be able to see everything that happens here. And we've got another one set up down over there on that wall. And we've got 3 set up in and around the Bridestones monument itself. So hopefully something happens, because we're equipped to film it tonight.
Once the cameras were set up, Dave and Holly began their investigation in the burial chamber, while Steve and I headed out into the surrounding field in the hopes of witnessing some form of paranormal activity.
There's something about this field, is there?
Yeah, right running parallel next to the Bridestones, we have a field where there's a geological fault which passes right through the centre, which is only 100 yards away, literally, from the Bridestones. As it reaches down to the bottom of the field, we have another fault, which is copper. And there was obviously a lot of mining maybe at some stage around here. And these geological faults are renowned basically for Earth-like phenomena, those sort of experiences. Balls of light.
Natural phenomena.
It's a natural phenomenon, yeah. Many people would report over a period of time that they see balls of light, and they're gaseous. They tend to be plasma, burning a range of colours, usually white, yellow, orange, those sort of colours, and sometimes they'll seem to be moving. Many years ago, people used to refer to them as UFOs. You thought they were unidentified flying objects in the sky. Very similar to swamp gas, but that's a gaseous ignition.
So could this account for, if you go back far enough in myth and legend, especially in the United Kingdom, things like Will-o'-the-Wisp? And
Most definitely,
yeah.
Most definitely, yeah. We would have had the reports of those type of experiences, Will-o'-the-Wisp you could call it, or even fairies, gentry. I mean,
Really?
a lot of people will misinterpret the phenomena. I think over the last sort of 10 years, we've really got to grasp on this phenomena now. And we do know that it does actually happen. It's been recorded, it's been filmed, photographed, and even done in an experimental chamber on a smaller degree.
The theory that the paranormal experiences reported at the Bridestones could be explained by the surrounding geography made sense to me, but I was still curious as to whether it could explain the story of the man with the missing time.
It could simply be a natural phenomenon. It's adversely affected somebody who was passing by at the time. A huge amount of EMF, or should we say GMF, geological magnetic phenomena.
Right.
It's the same thing, but it's generated from the ground. And if you're caught in that, it could adversely affect your mind. And you could also obviously claim to have had missing time as well. So you can understand how people could misinterpret that phenomenon.
So you could bring in the idea that potentially earth lights, or the phenomenon that causes earth lights, would create something that might look like a fairy or a sprite or whatever, any of these mythological creatures we might have. At the same time as that phenomenon or something related to it might be causing a missing time thing. And today we call those UFOs. 500-600 years ago, they might have said, look, these are people who are taken away by the fairies and sprites for a period of time and then return from the fairy kingdom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as you go through the eras, you'll find that there's very similar accounts, but they're interpreted completely different. At one time it would have been fairies, at another time it would have been spirits of their ancestors, another time it would have been paranormal. Some people refer to it as UFO. It's so many different things.
In my opinion, any ghost investigation where you can come up with some answers is worthwhile, even if those answers aren't paranormal in nature. The great thing about the UPIA is that they take the exact same approach.
A rational explanation is just as advantageous to us as it was something unusual.
I wonder if the ancients stood in a field of poo. That's cow dung.
Hopefully not.
Cow dung or whatever it is that we have here. Okay, well, maybe we should go back and see what Holly and Dave.
Yes, yeah, I'd love to find out.
Like I was saying earlier, the nice thing is about the smallness of the space, that those DVR cameras, we've got the thing covered from every angle. So if there is anything tonight,
We should hopefully
we should have it. All right, let's be careful where we walk.
Hey guys,
Hi,
What's
Holly.
I got a question for you.
Oh, right.
Steve, because no offense, Paul, but I don't know if you know the answer.
Not my area.
But,
Just, all right, I'll tell you what. You guys talk. I'm going to go in and spend a little time with the Bridestones on my own.
All right, don't get in the way.
I won't.
I was just watching the screen for a little while
Right.
after I was done with Dave there, and in this field over here. It was at about 8:01 according to the clock. I saw what looked like a series of 4 or 5 lights in a row.
Oh yeah.
And they appeared, I mean, I was looking at something else, but I looked over. I saw them right about here in the screen. They were all in a line. Not vertical necessarily, but they moved in sync. So not like an orb moved by itself, they moved together.
Right.
And they kind of went, and it could have just been a light on the thing, but they moved kind of this way off into the distance and behind the rock there.
Oh, that's interesting you mentioning that, because I've just been talking to Paul about this location, and now it's often referred to as a place where Earth-like phenomena takes place. Now, Earth-like phenomena can be little balls of light which are generated. They come from the ground, standing stones, areas where there are geological faults, just like here, and they seem to rise to the surface and can be seen to be like little bright balls of light.
Yeah, that's what they look like.
Yeah, well, that's really interesting you mentioning that, because this vicinity, the people have reported those exact same things before.
But they're explainable.
Oh yes, yeah, they're explainable.
Do they normally move in groups?
And sometimes they've been seen to be moving in groups, 3 or 4 of them.
Really?
In fact, yes, yeah.
Well, that's really interesting because that's definitely recorded.
That's fantastic, because at some time we could go back and look at that.
Oh, absolutely, and I noted the time.
Excellent.
So we can go back and take a look at it. But I mean, I thought maybe someone had a light shining, but then again, that would have caused the infrared to cancel itself out. But
Yeah.
I
Well,
just
let's hope that we get some more.
absolutely. Thanks for the
Brilliant,
explanation. I was
brilliant.
just completely.
Good viewing.
Thanks.
There was no question that I'd seen some strange lights over the field, but our cameras didn't pick it up, which I thought was odd. Steve's explanation was rational, but it didn't explain my growing feeling of apprehension, nor the severity of the headache I was now experiencing.
In contrast to Holly's feelings of unease, I felt great at the Bridestones. We didn't find anything paranormal there, but I was really inspired by the location.
There is a poetry to a place like this that if you haven't had a chance to experience it, I mean, a place that makes Stonehenge look like a kindergarten student in terms of age, that when you come to a place like this, there is a sense of poetry and also, I think, a sense of purpose. And it makes you think about your own purpose. And if nothing else, paranormal or not, that's a good thing. And that's something we should all keep in the forefront of our minds. And a place like this does that to you. No question. And you don't have to be new agey or anything. You just have to be a human being capable of taking a sense of perspective and thinking about a world that is bigger than your own, and thinking about time as a continuum, your place in it, but also thinking of it as not just a linear construct, but perhaps something that circles in around itself. Who knows? But it really does start making you think about the way time is structured and the way we're structured and our place in that sense of time, our place here and our purpose here. And I think those are probably the same questions in their own way that the people who built this were asking 12,000 years ago. And I hope, because I'm a humanist at my core, that those are the questions that people will be asking 12,000 years from now, and that we're still here to do it, or given 12,000 years, maybe we're out there somewhere doing it. But wherever we are, we'll still be amazed at places like this, people that came before, and what someday may come after us.
The day after our trip to the Bridestones, Paul and I headed into the city of Manchester, to the home of Manchester Radio Online. Dave Sadler informed us that the building containing the radio station was allegedly haunted, and he arranged for Paul and I to not only investigate the location, but also to make a special appearance on the radio station's Saturday night paranormal broadcast hosted by Paul Ripley and Tony Filer.
We do talk to witnesses beforehand. Each episode's done in a different way. So we have research packets. We know the general story, obviously. You don't just want to show up at a place like this and go, I hear you've got ghosts. You know, what kind of ghosts? We have demons. Bye. Occasionally I do run away because I'm cowardly. But, I mean, if it is a demon from hell coming at me, I'm not going to stick around.
Has that actually happened?
No, because I leave, so I don't know. I don't know. The demon gets there and goes, they told me he'd be here, but he's gone.
Being on live radio is a fairly new experience for me, but not for Paul. He was completely in his element discussing the paranormal with Paul Ripley and Tony Filer.
You
can't. There's no evidence whatsoever. I don't believe that anything has ever existed and come back and haunted anyone. There's no evidence. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing your job now.
There are things I think that we can't explain, so that makes them paranormal by their very definition. That doesn't mean they can't be explained. It just means we don't have the evidence in some cases, or we might not have the scientific knowledge. And ghosts are an interesting question, that sort of these ghosts or poltergeists or anything like that. You can play with all the theories you want. Most people would assume that they're the spirits of the dead. Or it could all have a prosaic explanation, that if we have more research and look into it in a scientific way, we might be able to explain it and understand it better.
After about an hour on the radio, Paul and I started the investigation. Dave and Paul went upstairs to a room that was supposedly once a bordello, while Steve and I concentrated our efforts in the basement, where back in the early 20th century, a man was allegedly brutally beaten.
I've done a full sweep around the full perimeter of both of these rooms in the cellar. I haven't picked up anything on the negative ions as yet.
Okay.
I actually expected, because I thought some of the carpeting on the walls and the ceiling and the floor that we've got here, because it's just everywhere, would have had some traces of nylon in it, because nylon is it's a culprit for causing negative ions.
Really?
Yeah, we picked up negative ions in nylon quite a few times, such as shower curtains, certain carpets. I'd usually give a trace, but we're not getting anything in here on the negative ion meter.
Okay.
So I'm going to do a sweep with the microwave radiation
Sure.
meter
I'm going to take a look at EMF.
and see if we can get anything.
This is the corner over here that we've been told potentially is where the man was brutally beaten.
Yeah.
And apparently there is historical evidence to back that up.
Yeah, I mean, what we're pretty much getting on the camera, and we possibly are picking up also on the infrared, is a lot of dust orbs which seem to be floating around.
Oh, yes.
I mean, I think what we're doing is, because it's pretty much carpet everywhere,
Yeah.
it's going to absorb dust into it from every direction. So whilst we're moving around, we're kicking up dust.
Yeah.
And so it is to be expected that we're going to get some dust orbs.
Likely. We'll likely see that on our DVR, which we also have set up monitoring this area over here. Getting some readings off the walls over there, but there's electrical wiring, so...
Whereabouts? Are they there concurrently all the time? Oh, yeah. What sort of readings are we getting on them? We're getting a point.
Hold on. 1.8 it jumped.
Yeah.
There it goes.
Yes, 3.5, 4.5. Can we follow it a little? Does it actually reach a ridiculous amount, or?
You mean go off the charts kind of thing?
Well, if we're looking for, if we get up to 10, yeah, I think the highest we've had is about 0.7. I mean, 0.7 over a duration of time. I mean, you know, this is what we find in a lot of buildings, that the wiring causes long-term EMF to be produced. Getting nothing on the microwave radiation detector, so we're looking like we've not got no leakage.
One, two. Oh, can I get some light over here? Oh. Oh, so there's like a whole other space back there.
Oh.
It's covered off with the carpeting. We're probably not really supposed to go back there, she says as she looks.
Interesting.
Oh, weird. Let me just flip this over the other way. Oh, and now I've gone and ripped part of it off. Well, it doesn't go very far.
No.
But you can certainly see the foundations.
Yeah, do you want to take a couple of snaps whilst you're in there?
Sure.
Holly?
Sure.
Just,
Let me do it.
just point and press.
Low light real.
creepy corners. Hey, you want to do any sweeps in here? It's a very small space, and I'm afraid I'm going to pull out these nails. Wiring, that's really high.
Is it?
20, 48, 50,
Sorry?
40, 50.
Oh, whoa. That's not good. That's not healthy at all. That spike you got, 45.
Not healthy, like I should take my hand away, not healthy?
No, basically, if you've got 45, you'd only have to spend about, 20 minutes in that field at 45.
In that field?
In that field, about 20 minutes.
And then what?
That'd be enough to make you a little bit disorientated, feel a little bit nauseous.
But you'd actually have to be
anticipation.
standing. You'd have to stand
yeah,
in that
I mean,
space. We're up to 69. It's jumping.
69.
It's jumping between 30 and 50.
Yeah, they definitely need the wiring sorting out, really.
As with the Bridestones, Steve and I had discovered a non-paranormal explanation for alleged paranormal activity. The electrical wiring in the basement of the radio station had created an area of abnormally high electromagnetic field activity, which could explain the reports of ghosts seen and heard in the room.
Very high.
So ghost investigation, perhaps not conclusive tonight in any way, shape, or form, but health and safety disaster averted.
Oh yeah, and this is part of the thing we do, Paul. I mean, a lot of the things we've picked this up in the past. I've been involved in an investigation in the past where an entire farm, British farm, had to be rewired, and we had all sorts of manweb and all sorts there, the British energy authorities. And because of the severity of the EMFs, which was proven to be affecting one of the members of the family, the whole farm had to be rewired. And after it was rewired and everything's fixed, the health increased better.
Good work, guys.
Excellent.
Thank you.
We've got lots of DVR to go over, so...
Yeah, we've got quite a lot of photographs, and obviously we put some details down on our sheet. We're now doing the perimeter tests, so...
And we've also got a lot of our own footage, which obviously we're making available to the crew.
Check that as well, yeah.
Negative ions, they're still negative. They're still very upset
EMF
about something.
up here is still EMF up here. Radiation is still radiation free.
We hadn't found any ghosts at either the Bridestones or the Manchester radio station, but we did discover some answers, and that's really what ghost investigation is all about.
Holly and I had an amazing time working with Dave and Steve and the rest of the UPIA during our week in the United Kingdom. Some of the sites we visited, like the radio station and the Bridestones, had non-paranormal explanations for the reports of ghostly activity, but there were others, like Shocklack Church and the White Hart Hotel, where we experienced some truly surreal events for which we still cannot find a rational explanation. Working with real professionals like the folks from the UPIA was a great learning experience for both Holly and I, and we can't wait to return to England sooner rather than later, for it's truly a magical land, rich in both history and hauntings.